Hey guys, Fletch here, bringing you another Premier League preview show. Yes, you know the drill by now. This is the show where I predict the upcoming weekend's Premier League fixtures. There are a lot of tasty encounters that are going to take place this weekend. And in this video, I'm going to talk about them, analyse them a little, and of course, the main part, predict the outcome in a very unpredictable season. So, wish me luck as we begin with Friday night's fixture. Yes, this week there is a Friday night game to kick off the weekend's Premier League football. So fantasy football managers, you best get your teams ready because Friday night's game will see Crystal Palace take on Newcastle. Both sides come into this game looking to get back to winning ways, with Palace losing 1-0 on Monday night to Wolves, whilst Newcastle lost 2-0 to Chelsea last weekend. And in all honesty, this game should see a Palace win. I think most indicators are pointing towards a Palace win in this game. Newcastle are lacking a clinical and killer edge in the final third. Although, having said that, Callum Wilson may be back for the Magpies this week, so that will be a major boost to Steve Bruce's side. And to add to that, Palace are of course without their talisman in Wilfred Zaha. So, although it may look like it's Palace's game to win on paper, there could still be more to it when the two teams actually meet on the pitch. Overall though, I'm going to stick with that prediction. I'm going to stick with a Palace win here, and I'm going to say that Palace will come out of this one as 2-1 winners. Our next game sees us to Saturday's lunchtime kickoff, where Brighton host Liverpool at the Amex Stadium. Brighton come into this one off the back of a big victory last weekend. They beat Aston Villa 2-1, whilst Liverpool come into this game joint top of the table with Spurs, but are second via goal difference following last weekend's 3-0 victory over Leicester. It's a big weekend for Liverpool, this one. Brighton aren't to be taken easy by any means, but they are in a more favourable fixture than their nearest rivals, which currently stand as both Chelsea and Tottenham. Chelsea and Tottenham, of course, play each other this weekend in a first versus third encounter, which of course we will be discussing a little bit later on in this video. But with them two facing each other, it's a big weekend for Liverpool to currently take advantage of one of them two sides at least dropping points. So it's a big weekend for the Reds to take advantage, and it will be great for the club and for their title chances, of course, if the Reds are to pick up 3 points here. Prediction time though, and honestly, I cannot see anything other than a Liverpool win here. Again, the Saturday early kickoff is a little bit cursed and has been known to be cursed, but I don't think there is any doubt here that the Reds won't pick up 3 points, and that's why I'm going to have to predict a 3-0 win to Jurgen Klopp's side. Next, we're off to the Etihad as Manchester City host Burnley on Saturday afternoon. City come into this game off the back of a 2-0 defeat to Tottenham and find themselves 13th, while Sean Dyche's side picked up their first victory of the season on Monday night with a 1-0 victory over Crystal Palace that saw the club move out of the relegation zone. We know how this game will go. Burnley will allow City to have the ball as much as they want, and they will look to work hard, cover as much ground as they can, and be physical whilst attempting to hit City on the counter-attack or use set pieces to their advantage. And it will be just a question of whether Manchester City can break down Burnley and break down their resolute defence. Honestly, a draw here wouldn't surprise me at all, but I cannot see City letting more points slip here, and that's why I'm going to go with a City victory, and I'm going to predict a 2-1 win for Pep Guardiola's side. Our next game of focus features a huge game at the foot of the table between two sides who are yet to pick up a single victory between them this season. The home side, West Brom. sat currently in 19th place with no victories at all this season, and the away side, Sheffield United, in a similar situation with no victories at all this season, both coming into this game off the back of 1-0 defeats, with West Brom coming off the back of a harsh 1-0 defeat to Manchester United, whilst Sheffield United were beaten 1-0, the same scoreline, by West Ham last weekend. And like I say, I can't stress this enough, this is a huge game for both sides. It's a massive 3 points on the line here. And with that being said, this could therefore make it a surprisingly exciting encounter between these two sides. As far as a prediction goes, it's another game in which it could go any which way. Ironically, in a must-win game for both clubs, I can honestly see it ending up as a draw. It would be typical for it to be a draw. The result any which way wouldn't surprise me. But again, I can't see it being anything more than a draw. I can't see either side taking the initiative to pick up the 3 points here, and what a big 3 points it would be. So I'm going to say that come the final whistle, the scoreline will be 1-1. Our next game of focus sees Everton hosting Leeds United in Saturday's evening fixture. The Toffees got back to winning ways last weekend following a 3-2 victory over Fulham, whilst Leeds were held to a goalless stalemate by 10-man Arsenal. This has all the makings of an open and entertaining game, end-to-end encounter, whatever you want to call it. And you guessed it, with that being said, it again makes it for another incredibly difficult game to predict. I can't stress how incredibly difficult it is to predict things this season. So, as far as that's concerned, and as far as my prediction goes, I'm torn with all 3 possible outcomes. But I'm going to call it down the middle. I'm going to go for a draw here. I'm going to say a draw. I'm sticking my neck out on the line. I'm going to say that this game will end in a draw, and say that this game will end 2-2 with both Dominic Calvert-Lewin and Patrick Bamford getting on the scoreline for their respective clubs. Next, we're off to St Mary's as Southampton host Manchester United on Sunday afternoon. The Saints find themselves in 5th following Monday's 1-1 draw with Wolves, whilst Man United were victorious last time out when they faced West Brom in a 1-0 winning effort by Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's side. This game is set to be an interesting one, to say the least. The Saints are always a tough nut to crack, and are constant, and Manchester United are constantly inconsistent, if that makes any sense. You just don't know which Man United side's going to turn up, and especially in this kind of encounter, it's going to be an intriguing game ahead, that's for sure. Another game which could seriously have 3 different outcomes, and it wouldn't surprise me any which way. But I'm going to go with my gut feeling on this one. I'm going to go with my gut, and I'm going to say this game will end in a draw. I think that this game is going to end in a draw, and I'm going to predict a 2-2 outcome. Simply put, our next game features a must-win game for Arsenal as they host Wolves at the Emirates Stadium. The Gunners go into this game off the back of a goalless draw with Leeds last weekend, whilst for Wolves themselves, they also go into this game off the back of a draw as they drew 1-1 with Southampton on Monday night. The simple problem for Arsenal is clear for everybody to see. It's creativity. Creativity, as they haven't been able to score a goal in a number of matches now from open play. And that is becoming a serious problem for them. They have not managed to score a goal from open play in a number of matches now. And they need to change that. That simply needs to change as soon as possible, because it's leaving Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang, their talisman, their star striker, feeding off scraps up front. And it's not good enough by anybody's standards. Whilst for Wolves, goals haven't simply been pouring out of their squad either. But again, they've proven themselves that they are another tough nut to crack and that they are difficult to beat on their day. Another tough call. Surprisingly, I know, you're all surprised. This is another tough call for me to make on a prediction, but it is set to be another intriguing game ahead, one to watch. And again, I'm not confident with this prediction. I'm not confident because this could seriously go any which way, but I'm going to predict a 1-1 draw with Aubameyang and Raul Jimenez both getting on the score sheet. For our next game, we come to Monday's evening fixture that will see Leicester take on Fulham at the King Power Stadium. Both clubs come into this game off the back of defeats, and both sides were actually defeated by both Merseyside clubs, with Liverpool beating Leicester 3-0 last weekend, whilst Fulham lost to Everton 3-2 on Sunday. The Foxes are still within the top four, that will certainly please them, and this will certainly be a game in which Jamie Vardy will be licking his lips at and will likely get back on the score sheet for the Foxes this weekend, whilst Fulham will be looking to cause a bit of an upset here. I don't think many are expecting them to do it, but they definitely need to get points on the board as soon as possible. This game is one of the more fairly predictable ones, to say the least. Granted, it doesn't always make it a dead cert, and especially in this current climate of fixtures and obviously how the Premier League is currently sat right now, where basically everybody's inconsistent and unpredictable. But this one is more likely to head in the direction of the Foxes, with them picking up the 3 points here. And that's why I'm going to predict a 3-1 victory for Brendan Rodgers' side and say that Jamie Vardy will at least score a brace in this game. Our penultimate game on this list sees West Ham host Aston Villa at the London Stadium. The Hammers are in 8th place right now after a 1-0 victory last weekend against Sheffield United, whilst Aston Villa will be looking to get back to winning ways in this game after losing 2-1 to Brighton last Saturday. This one should be a very interesting game ahead. West Ham have proven to be tough opposition to beat this season for most clubs, whilst if Villa are in the mood, and especially Jack Grealish in particular, if they're both on form, Villa can blow away most teams, so it will be intriguing to watch this one. Prediction time, and whilst I can see both clubs possibly walking out with all 3 points, I'm going to call this one right down the middle, and I'm going to say that this game will end in a draw come the final whistle, and I'm going to predict a 1-1 draw overall. And finally, of course, you guessed it, we've come to the main event of the weekend. We've come to the biggest game of this round of fixtures. It's Chelsea taking on Tottenham. It's a third versus first encounter at Stamford Bridge. And if you know your recent history on this fixture, you will know that this game is going to be an exciting one, to say the least. This game, of course, sees Frank Lampard return to take on one of his former managers in Jose Mourinho in one of the game's subplots of this fixture, as both sides are positioning themselves as contenders for this season's Premier League title. Both sides, of course, also come into this game in good form. Both sides won 2-0 last weekend, with the Blues beating Newcastle by that scoreline, whilst Tottenham beat Manchester City by that scoreline too. And overall, like I keep saying, this game should be an intriguing and exciting encounter between these two, to say the least. These two teams are looking to obviously be contenders to the Premier League title this year, but given the unpredictable nature of this season, to be honest, I don't think that if the result is that one of these two sides wins, I don't think we'll be able to tell a lot from just this result alone, if that's to happen, which of course leads me to my prediction. And honestly, this could be a game where either Mourinho does a typical Mourinho defensive masterclass, a smash and grab if you will, or Chelsea could blow Tottenham completely away and it will be a great victory for Frank Lampard's side. or it could be a goal-for-goal encounter. There are many possible outcomes that could happen with this game and many different scenarios that could play out here. So this is definitely one to watch. I am going to have to predict a victory to Chelsea here. I'm going to predict a 2-1 Chelsea win here. I am not confident in this prediction at all. This game could seriously go any which way. And with saying that, my head's saying that this will be a draw, but I'm going to go with my gut. I'm going to go with my gut feeling and say that the Blues will pull off the victory here. But of course, these are just the thoughts and opinions of one man. I want to know what you guys think. What do you make of this weekend's upcoming Premier League fixtures? I'd love to read your thoughts, your comments, your opinions, your predictions down below in the comment section. I'm sure they'll all make for interesting reading. Otherwise, hit that like button on the way out if you enjoyed the video. Subscribe if you're new or want to see more content like this. Both things will be greatly appreciated. And as always, thank you all so much for watching and listening. I've been Fletch. This has been another Premier League preview show. And I will see and speak with you all again soon in another video.